we just write really different books.
We're like, here's how you organize your pantry.
Yeah. So not a lot of like soul bearing when it comes to like fridge org, but I like, how did it feel to be so vulnerable?
It was hard. It was hard, and it was also equally therapeutic. Some chapters going back in time and walking through some of those memories were really difficult.
Yeah, sure.
And also, like, with social media, yes, I share a lot about my life, but I've always had boundaries.
Yeah.
I've always kind of said, like, this is off limits, this is cool. But I do feel like, sometimes when you're getting vulnerable on social media, it can just feel like you're like, shouting something or communicating something, but not really connecting.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we all want when we're like looking, when we're stepping into vulnerability, we're looking for connection. We're looking for community. And so I wanted to reserve these stories for like a sacred place, like these pages, and then to open the door to conversations on social media. And so that kind of felt like the natural way to do it. But for sure, I'm still just as terrified as I was writing them, now actually like stepping up to the plate and really sharing them. But I do think, when I was going through those dark times, I also talk about a divorce at a young age. It was the other women around me that raised their hand and said, hey, I've been there. Like,
what was your biggest fear in talking about it in the book?
I think just, dealing with, the shame. And because it's not something that like you deal with the shame and then it just goes away.
Right.
Like it's an ongoing journey
Sure.
of learning and getting through it. And I think with my divorce and eating disorder, there still is a lot of that. And so, and just like, perception and judgment. I think
Isn't
we
everything
all,
still a journey though? Like, do we ever get over anything really?
and that's the work with around eating disorder is it's always work. There's always progress to be made. And so I say in the book, like, am I fully recovered? No. Recovery is a journey, and then you're learning stuff along the way. And I think a lot of people that have gone through that treatment will tell you that. Same thing with a lot of different diseases. It's a journey.
It is.
It's progress day to day.
I think it's really amazing that you could do this and could share this with people.
It wasn't, once I read it for the first time for pleasure, it was just like, there was no way I wasn't going to.
Yeah.
Like seeing that 23-year-old me, was like, wow, yes, I have to, I have to. I feel like I'm in a safe place where I can and really talk about it with strength and what I hope will lend perspective and make someone hopeful that they can get through it too.
Are you nervous for the book to be out and to start receiving feedback? Like putting yourself out there. I just know from our own experiences, like sometimes like whether it's show, book, just Instagram stories, like anything like that. It's like you open yourself up and then you're like, oh, I'm open.
Right. Like, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Right. I have said this so many times to my husband, Madison. I have said like, oh gosh, I really did it. Like I really, really went for it.
Bared my soul.
I shared it all. There's like nothing that's not on the table anymore. Like it's all out there, and
kind of freeing though, right?
So yes. And that's the other side of it. It's freeing and it's empowering, because I think like it's hard for shame to exist in the light. And so when you let light in, it's you feel empowered, you feel freedom in that. And so that's always been my experience when I share and let people in. And so this is just on a grander scale. But I hope if one person feels seen and heard and understood through this, then it's all going to be worth it. Like if I get that, if that community and that connection happens, then it'll all be worth it. I love to write. That's why I started Happily Gray. I started writing. It was for the first year, there was no picture associated with it,
right.
But it was also before Instagram and Pinterest. So I kind of got away with it.
Right.
But I remember when Instagram launched and my friend called me and she's like, hey, you write about fashion. You should start posting your looks. And I was like, okay, cool. I can do that. And so I took a mirror selfie thinking I was sending her my look. Like, hey, is this cool? Is this going to be good? Is this what you mean? And instead of sending it to her, I thought I was sending it to her on Instagram. I posted it publicly. And she calls me and she's like, take that down immediately. No. That's not how it works.
Oh my God.
And I'll never forget. That was my first post on Instagram.
I have a feeling. So if you were new to Instagram and you're like, oh, now I have to get into like the photo world. When stories came around, you're like, now I have to get.
You just want to crawl into bed for like.
It frightened me.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
It's so much.
And the boundaries. Like now you're expected to share
everything.
I talk about this in the book, like the boundaries of it, and it just feels like it's so. Like it just overtakes, your every aspect of your life, and the expectation that you should share all of it, the good and the bad. And if you don't share all of it, then they only see the highlight reel. Then you're not, approachable.
Yeah,
exactly. And so, yeah, it's tricky, like knowing the balance and knowing, when to say like, okay, enough is enough. And
Instagram stories for me is still the largest stress in my life from a work perspective. It's so much. I feel like I can't just share everything at every second either. Like I take, like I want to be in the moment with people. Like, like there's so many moments that I feel like I want to share it, but I don't want to share it in real time. I feel like I have to do face to camera all the time, and I don't always look like the way I want to look when I want to say something.
How we just looked.
How we just looked.
How
when
I
we
just
filmed
looked when we tried to take a picture. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's so hard, and it's hard to be creative and to like think of things to say. And ultimately, you're having a one-sided conversation with a camera.
With your camera. Yeah. With your phone.
With your phone. And
it's pretty awkward.
It can be really awkward. Anyway, that reward style conference, Joanna and I were there, and we were like one of the only people who were in like the home category.
We were the only people in the home.
Well, some people dabble in like other areas.
It was pretty. All I know is we were the only not beautiful, like striking people there that were not.
Stop.
No. I don't even mean.
We're
this
not
to be,
even trying to. What we wanted to make sure everyone knew is that we were there not as like fashion or beauty bloggers.
Correct.
Like we are there for the house. Yeah. And like like
we are there for under the sink.
Right. And so we actually were like, do we need to make t-shirts that say not a beauty blogger?
That's what started our first like line of t-shirts.
And we did. We
not
actually created t-shirts that said not a beauty blogger.
I don't remember this.
That's very old.
That is genius.
No, we did. It grew from that conference because everyone was like stunning and taking
selfies, and we're like,
yeah, and like beautifully curated outfits. And Clea and I were like in all black
at the pool. Yeah. The very first day there was a pool party. It was like 100 degrees. Joanna and I are in like black cashmere.
We were both of us.
And everyone
in Dallas, Texas.
Texas. And everyone's lining up at this one spot at the pool to like take the appropriate selfie. And Joanna and I are just like sitting inside like Daria.
No, that's happening right now.
We went in and watched a movie. I think we watched Hidden Figures in the room that night.
No, that was the party that we skipped to watch.
Oh, y'all skipped the evening party.
Oh,
that's like the big party.
No,
I know.
Two of us don't belong.
We just didn't belong there.
Yeah.
We didn't belong. That was the first and last time.
Yeah, it was. And they also didn't invite us back, I don't think.
So we were recording the audiobook for book 1 / our first book. And first of all, it was my idea to do it. Remember, I thought that I had like, you said it was my best idea I've ever had. And
I did?
Yes. I was applauding myself. I thought, oh my God, record an audiobook. How easy is that?
Oh, like I said it was your best idea?
Well, you took it back. But at the time.
Okay, I was like, I don't remember that.
You were like, wow, Clea, like found money. Right? Like easiest thing ever.
Right. The book's already written.
Writing the book is the hard part. Surely recording, all you have to do is read the book. So we get to the recording studio, day 1, kind of was not dissimilar from this. And we start reading. First of all, the producer she's not physically present. So she's just like in an earpiece in my ear. And she kept telling me as I was reading the words I wrote, she kept telling me that it didn't sound like
authentic.
Like it didn't sound authentic. And I said, listen, lady, I authentically wrote it. Like these are actually my words. And she goes, it doesn't sound like you. I said, how could... It has to sound like
I literally wrote these words.
I literally wrote the words on the paper, and she's telling me how to say them. And I'm like, no,
I should have known at that point.
We should have known. She was like, no, the emphasis is wrong. I was like, no, it's not. I was so mad. So the woman in my ear kept telling me that I wasn't doing a good job reading the book that I wrote. And then what's even worse, so then Joanna jumps in to like read her part.
Right, I had my parts.
Joanna had her parts, and Joanna really did a bad job. She was like, and not in my mind, but like in this woman's mind, the producer.
Terrible job.
If she thought that I wasn't nailing it, she thought Joanna was actually hurting the process. She thought Joanna was doing such a terrible job. So she kept stopping Joanna and giving the part to me, but then telling me that she didn't like the way I was delivering the lines either.
After every 2 words, though. It wasn't even like I could get through a full sentence.
No. So you know what she did? She fired Joanna.
Did. Midway
through reading on day one,
Yes.
on the recording,
Yes.
she fired Joanna
After lunch.
Yeah. And Joanna had to sit in the corner, as I'm not making this up, sit in the corner of the recording room. So like a little hot box of a room. She had to sit in the corner and silently cry. She silently cried because otherwise we'd have to stop the recording if you were like, but you were just tears rolling down your face.
Awful.
It was
I got
awful.
Fired from recording our own book reading.
Own book.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't asked to read Barack Obama's book and got fired.
No.